My name's Dave Dubeau, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content. Hey folks, welcome back. Have you ever driven by a part of town where there's some commercial properties and they're looking kind of rough, they're looking kind of run down, they're looking kind of abandoned, and you've thought to yourself, there must be a way to turn these around and make them profitable? Well, if you have, then stay tuned for today's show, because our special guest zooming in from Chicago, Illinois, is Moses Hall. And Moses has a lot of experience dealing with commercial properties, dealing with inner city commercial properties, and helping his clients turn them around. So Moses, welcome to the show. Great to have you.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
So Moses, give us a little snapshot of what your businesses look like, because you're a broker, you're a commercial broker, so you help people buy and sell properties, but you're also an investor. I think you're also involved in developments. I think you're getting into hotels. You're doing a lot of stuff, man. So just give us a little big picture snapshot of what you do.
So yeah, my main goal and business that I operate is Mohawk Commercial and Urban Development. We're a full service commercial real estate brokerage here in the Chicagoland area, servicing developers, investors, local municipalities on revitalizing underserved communities.
Okay, so that's the main focus.
Yes.
And you've been doing this for a while?
I've been doing this almost 12 years now. So I came straight out of college and jumped right into commercial real estate.
I was going to say, geez, you're looking pretty bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, man. That's good. Okay, so Moses, let's talk about these distressed properties, distressed commercial properties, and how you help your clients turn them around. So maybe the best way to do that would be to illustrate this with one of your favorite stories. Like, when you think about one of those projects that was just like an absolute home run, what comes to your mind?
So I actually have several projects that I've been able to be successful in terms of, at one point in time, you would drive down the block and it was falling down, it was dilapidated, it's been vacant.
Well, yeah, tell us about one of them.
So one of the reason I was going down that path is the reason I have the opportunity to do a lot of great works. It was because I collaborate with local municipalities and also land banks. Land banks are here in the U.S. in Chicago, we have the Cook County Land Bank and we have the South Suburban Land Bank. And the land banks take possession of abandoned and blighted properties. And the goal is to renovate them, get them back on the tax roll, and be an economic catalyst for the community. And so through those organizations that are government sanctioned, I have the opportunity to take old multifamily buildings that have been vacant, falling down, and bring a developer in. And we're able to not only improve the community, but also make profits. I think there's a misconception that you can't do good and also realize returns. And so I'm able to marry to, improve communities, but also return profits for investors. And so the way that we kind of do that is a mix of oftentimes when you have a bank-owned property or a land bank property, you can get it for a discount. You can get it for underneath market value. So that's They say one of the best strategies when doing real estate development is on the acquisition side. So you're already ahead when you can get something under market value. And then here in the city of Chicago, there are a lot of local grants that allow that you can infuse in your capital stack to help renovate and bring these properties back to life. And so for me, I've had the opportunity to work on several projects, including a music school, affordable housing projects, mental health clinics, in terms of properties that were completely dilapidated, and putting thriving organizations and businesses in these properties.
Very cool. So I'm a visual kind of guy. We're doing this as an interview, so maybe paint a picture for me, if you would. Like, what would be one example? What was like the before who was the person that bought it and what did it kind of end up being like? If you had to think of one example there, Moses.
Yeah, absolutely. So there was an 18 unit mixed use property. It had a mix of residential apartments above and commercial units on the ground level. And this property was literally falling down.
Yeah. So what happened to it? How did it get to such a dilapidated state? What
So
happened to that in the neighborhood?
oftentimes, and this is why, I know prior to this recording, I say I like to educate
Yeah.
because in commercial real estate, especially when you're in the multifamily sector, property management is crucial.
Mm, hmm.
Property management is crucial. And that's one of the ways that you can be successful. So, oftentimes, two things that happen when these properties get to that point. One, you have poor property management. Tenants are not paying rent. When tenants are not paying rent, you can't upkeep with the taxes. You can't upkeep with utilities. You're not, and so often times these previous owners, especially here in the Chicagoland area, we are a global market. We do actually have one of our, big investors are Canadian buyers that buy into the U.S. market,
Hmm.
and so oftentimes we get a lot of out of state people that don't understand the Chicago market, and they get excited about the prices. They're like, "Oh man, I can get this 18 unit for this price." But they don't understand the different dynamics and social dynamics in that market. And so oftentimes they bite off more than they can chew. And then when tenants are not paying rent or whatever it may be, they walk away and then it comes into the possession of a bank.
Wow. So is that
So
what happened with this
yeah,
project? Was an
yeah,
out of country owner
yeah,
and
yeah. Out of state in this
out of
particular,
state?
I
Got it.
believe that particular owner is based in California.
Okay.
Uh,
So they're in California,
yeah,
especially in California. They saw a smoking deal on this property
yeah,
in Chicago, bought it, clueless about the neighborhood, about the
yeah.
demographics of who their tenant base is, probably clueless about the rental rules and
Right,
regulations and what's
correct.
required. And so, any idea how long they owned the property before they basically gave the keys to the bank?
Typically, these properties sit vacant for like 5 or plus years.
Wow. So they lost all of their residential tenants and their commercial tenants. Like it was,
Yeah, it
place was
was.
just abandoned.
Yeah, it was just abandoned,
Wow.
and so because of that, it goes to the bank. The
Yeah.
bank contacts me. We work with the local municipality, city, to have a strategy. So we meet, we have a vision, and so in securing a new buyer, we want to make sure that this new buyer has the experience to get this property back up and running.
So
And so
this particular project, just because I'm trying to
yeah,
walk through it, 18 units, commercial on the bottom,
yeah.
abandoned for 5 years, basically. You get involved with the city. What was the vision they had for the property? What did they want to see put in there or done with this property?
Well, the biggest thing is they want a developer that knows how to go from point A to point Z. They don't want no novice. And so one of the things that they look for is your resume, your experience, previous projects you worked on. And
Got
what
it.
they do as a condition when you purchase this property, they give a limited deed to the property. And so
Mm.
they give you 18 months to get this property back up in good standing and condition. So oftentimes we get
So
local.
this was not going to be a tear down and rebuild. This was going to be revitalize the
Yeah,
existing building. Got
yeah,
it. Got
that's
it.
the
Got
goal.
it. Got it.
Because I
Okay.
know back in 2008 when we were going through the financial crisis in
Yeah.
Chicago, they bulldozed a lot of buildings and a lot of homes and a lot of everything, and it created a lot of vacant land.
Mm.
So they try desperately as a last resort now to, if there's structurally sound building, that they try to save it and redevelop, have
Got
a
it.
redevelop
Yeah.
it.
Okay. Good. So that's smart. They want to redevelop it. They give them a year and a half to do that. They give them kind of a tentative ownership of
Yeah.
that to make sure they don't. Then so what? What has happened with this particular property, Moses?
So we work with community partners. There's a lot of CDFIs. They're pretty much community lenders where like a Chase Bank wouldn't be able to maybe do a deal like this. There are banks that receive funding to do community work like this. Here in Chicagoland area, we have a lender that's called CIC,
Mhm.
Community Investment Corporation, and they're known to take on like multifamily properties. They give you a competitive rate. They give you funding not only for the acquisition of the property, but funding for the renovation of the property. And then we also have, because there's like commercial units at the bottom, this property fell into a zone that has an initiative for commercial revitalization. And so you can get grants depending on your project. There's one sector of the grant where you can get up to 250,000, but depending on your project, you can get up to 1 million
Hmm.
to renovate. And so from a local developer came in, they're familiar with the local municipality and we were able to work all together to kind of revitalize this building. Like I said, giving them 18 months to do it and also putting tenants. And so they recently had a ribbon cutting. Uh,
Nice.
yeah. So it's all about working cohesively together. And it's still, like you said, not only did you get a community lender with a competitive rate, you also got some grant money infused in that, and then you already acquired the property under market value based on what it would have been. And so that's kind of a story of a success story of working with a dilapidated building, how to infuse capital stack and also realize gains.
Very, very cool. Yeah, those must be fun ones to work on for you. That's
Yeah.
for sure. So are you kind of involved in all aspects of that, or primarily in the purchase and sale of the property? Are you helping them with the grants and all that kind of stuff, or connecting them with banks and
Well,
financing?
well, yeah, it depends, on the deal. But because I have experience, I'm not a grant writer, but I do know kind of the process of kind of how to work through. And like you said, I do have relationship with lenders that specialize in these type of properties and deals. Because like you said, your more traditional lender wouldn't be able to touch it just because of the setup. But yeah, so I have those relationships. I come in not just as a broker role, but also consultant role and utilizing those relationships to get the deal to the finish line.
Very, very cool. Very cool. So what are your plans and goals for your business for the next 12 months or so, Moses? Where do you see things going given the current market, interest rates, political challenges? Where do you see things going in Chicago?
I think there's still opportunity in Chicago. I know, unfortunately, we're on a global stage, and the perception is not always the best in the media. But Chicago is the third largest metropolitan city. We have we're not number one in terms of largest airport anymore, but we do have one of the expansive international airports, O'Hare Airport. And
Yeah.
we have one expansive railroad systems. So there's a lot of opportunity in Chicago. We just have to overcome certain challenges, but you can still find deals. Like you said, we get a lot of coastal buyers, a lot of New York buyers and California buyers that understand like there's opportunity here. You just have to build a solid team to be successful in the Chicago market. So what I foresee in the market, like you said, I'm not a fortune teller. I think we're all just kind of sitting at the edge of our seats to kind of see what policies are implemented. I know there's a lot of things that we're watching in terms of on the federal level that will impact housing in terms of Section 8 and other government resources. So
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
Big
so
time.
I think everyone is kind of just watching. It's really hard to predict which way we're going to go. I know people kept saying the market's going to crash, and I know people have been saying that for the last 10 years, but
Yeah.
it's
In the middle of the pandemic, everybody thought
Right.
the market was going to crash. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to with a crystal ball because we've never really seen anything like this, and so many policies are being implemented that just directly impacts our day to day. I think everyone's just trying to see where the dust settles
Mhm.
I know, we're all just trying to kind of, conservatively underwrite our deals. I think that's where a lot of people are doing right now. We're, cushioning for the worst, but if it doesn't happen, we're still good. The deal still makes sense. And I think that's kind of how I would advise people to kind of walk into their deal. So my goal for the next 12 months right now, just understanding where the market is going, how to navigate through certain climates and policies and challenges that we may face as an industry. So that's kind of where the goal is right now.
Got it. Yeah, weather the uncertain storm right now. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Hey Moses, this has been great. I'm sure some of the folks watching or listening to this are going to be curious and want to connect with you. If so, what's the best way for them to do that?
You can connect with me on LinkedIn, Moses Hall, Moseshall.
And if there's more than one Moses Hall, he's the guy in Chicago doing development and commercial brokerage stuff. All right. Thanks for being on the show, Moses. That was a lot of fun.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate the opportunity.
All right, everybody. See you on the next one. Hey there. I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewsyou.com.